Welcome back to NASCAR Fast Friday, presented by Aleve. Everybody's been talking about it. We've all been waiting for it. Sprint Cup Series knockout qualifying for the very first time here on the Mile at Phoenix. Austin Dillon signs for a few fans on the way to his number 3. Now the cars are lined up in an order determined by a random draw. Earlier this morning, that's the way they went through practice, or excuse me, through inspection. And that's the way they will line up. However, during this first 30-minute session, you can go out on track anytime you want. You can run as many laps as you want. You can go out as many times as you want. And at the end of that half hour, we'll know who's going home, and starting positions 13 to 43 will be set. The top 12 will be reseeded for a 10-minute round to determine the pole. Matt Yoakum.
Six-time champion Jimmie Johnson out on pit road getting ready for the first ever knockout qualifying here in Sprint Cup. So is this going to be a controlled chaos? What do you expect, Jimmy?
Chaos for sure. We'll see how controlled it is. We'll let maybe the booth decide if it's controlled or not. But we do have a big window of time to get our lap in, and you know, it'll be interesting to see how today plays out. It's new for everyone, and somebody's going to get it right, and I certainly hope it's us with the slow Chevrolet.
So do you wait and let other drivers go out and see what type of performance that they knock down, or do you go out right away? Have you discussed your game plan of what you want to do early on?
I think that really changes track to track. There's an advantage to being early at some tracks here. You know, in the past, we've always dreaded being an early number. Granted, practice just ended for the nationwide guys, so the track should be pretty good. I think the biggest thing is trying to find a clean lap right now. And if there's a huge rush of people that want to go out at first, I think it'd be smart to wait and not get caught up in that and have your lap affected by, you know, somebody coming in or off the racetrack. So all that being said, that's what we think is going to happen, and something completely different probably will happen.
All right, thanks, Jimmy.
Thank you.
46 drivers for 43 positions, and after this 30 minutes, we'll know who goes and who goes home.
Here goes the 2, here goes the 11. 22, they're rolling back.
Brad Keselowski is determined to be the first driver out there. I'm not sure he's going to quite make it, though.
Random draw set that order. Josh Wise, a little trouble backing out into traffic. He gets cleared. And here we go. Knockout qualifying round 1 is on.
Well, just the way we're starting, you know, with the cars backing out in front of each other. No, that's kind of bizarre. And here we go.
About half the field is in a hurry to get out there.
Well, Greg Biffle in that 16 car, you see him taking the green flag. He will be the first driver to go under the clock in his 16 car.
3M Ford, one of the quickest Fords in Daytona.
He's going to have a pretty clean track in front of him. He's going to get a clean lap.
Larry, all these guys are. Boyer and the 2 car, and all of them are, because they're stopped at the end of pit road. These guys have gotten down there. They blocked the end of pit road. You couldn't get out if you wanted to, I don't think.
A bit of a jam as some drivers wait for clean track. Biffle, 26:05.
Great time, 26:05. Just about a tenth and a half off the record.
Keselowski now quickest. Logano now fastest. Biffle down to 3rd. Then Boyer, Hamlin, and Harvick.
Yeah, we're within a tenth of the track record. The track record is 25:85. Jimmie Johnson set it in the fall.
Joey Logano, quickest so far after 1 lap.
I just don't, you know, pandemonium hadn't set in yet. These guys are going out here. They got clean laps, I'm for heaven's sake, because it looks like a regular practice session. But where it's going to get interesting is when everybody gets their laps up there and we see who's in the top 12 and who isn't.
And now Logano is quicker. He's within 100th of a second of the track.
Oh, trouble, turn 4, guys. Car around 51, I think.
Justin Allgaier. And the caution will be out.
Now, Larry, just to clarify,
Everybody coming, you can crank it up, pull it across, scan.
the caution is out, Larry. The yellow flag is not used in these sessions. The track is either green or red. When the red flag waves, the clock stops on the 30 minutes. Let's see what happened to Justin Allgaier before he posted a lap.
I just saw a red streak up high there. You just see that coming into turn 4. I really wasn't even sure who it was, but Justin Allgaier in the 51 car.
And he was just starting a lap. I think he had just driven off pit road, essentially.
You know, Larry, I did hear some of the guys say that with new tires, sticker tires, that the tires didn't come in immediately. And that could have been what bit Justin Allgaier there, maybe on 4 sticker tires.
Now, the drivers that are very aggravated about this, above and beyond Justin Allgaier, are drivers that were probably right in the middle of their first lap as far as a qualifying attempt.
Sure, because their engines are up to temperature, so are their tires. And as you look at this shot, look at the shadows from Jimmy Johnson's car. The sun is back out.
And just a quick look, it looks like we have maybe 12.5 drivers sitting down there. You see them all down here waiting to go out and make a run.
But see, that's what I didn't understand, Larry. The guys got down there. Those first few guys went out, they had clear track. I mean, like a qualifying run, a regular session. A bunch of these guys just pulled down here and stopped and waited. I guess they were waiting for those 9 to get out of the way and then 9 more go, maybe.
Maybe they were waiting on somebody to hit the wall.
Whoa, I didn't think of that.
Well, that happened. Only 9 drivers were able to post a time before the red flag for Justin Allgaier. 2 minutes, 15 seconds were on the clock before the red flag. We are now back under green. Knockout qualifying resumes in Phoenix, round 1. And the first car to the clock is rookie Cole Witt in the 26. A dozen or more cars are on track right now. The sun has gone back in as far as the front stretch turns 1 and 2. A little bit of sunshine in turn 3.
Yeah, Cole Witt was gaining quickly on the car there in front of him. I can't see which car it was, but I thought that was going to be an issue. But they picked up the speed. Cole's going to get a nice clean lap. All these guys are, actually.
Yeah, that was Ryan Truex coming to green, Darrell, and Witt clocks in, and he is 10th. Brian Scott 9th. Marcus Ambrose. But nobody has yet challenged that fast 5. Well, Brian Vickers up there. And here's Ambrose. He was pretty quick in practice. He is right now 12th after 1 lap.
And that's what we're looking at. Who's in the top 12? That's what you're really shooting for right now, to try to have a good enough lap to be up solid in the top 12 and be able to move on.
Paul Menard is 11th. Now Cole Witt is on the bubble. He is 12th. Behind him are Carl Edwards. Whoop, Menard just jumped up to 11th. That'll move David Reagan to 12th, and Cole Witt is out. Remember, 12 drivers advance.
McDonald just went in at 11th, and now Reagan is out.
And Kyle Larson, who had been really quick in practice in that 42 car, you see him there. He just jumped up to 3rd. He was 5th quickest, and then after lap 2, he jumped to 3rd quickest.
You can follow all of the top 12 up at the top of your screen. Right now, those are the drivers who would advance.
Larry, you're talking about cooling the engine down. If you come by here, you get you a good solid lap, and you go by here, you cut the engine off, and you coast and let some air get in that radiator and use your radiator fan, maybe start the engine back up a couple of times, you can be surprised how quickly that thing will cool down.
Marcus Ambrose 2 spots away now, 14th.
And he was one of the quickest cars in practice earlier today. He's going to have to come in and think about it.
Eric Almirola's jumped up into the top dozen, so has Tony Stewart.
Nice improvement for Tony Stewart. He wasn't that great in practice, but that's a nice. He's in 9th right now, and that's a pretty solid lap. That's an O, or no, that's a 18.
You know, we had clouds, Mike. You pointed it out. Now it looks like we're about, other than what the grandstand's shading down in turn 1 and 2, we're back to full sunlight.
Somebody spent the money cloud.
That was Boyer, I'm telling you. He had that one drug in, and he got his lap, and he came back in.
Jimmy Johnson just jumped up to 5th quickest in that 48 car with that first lap.
And that knocks Harvick out of the top dozen. Krista?
Mike, in the old qualifying format, talking to a driver, that meant a good thing because it meant you had a quick lap. Qualifying still going on, we're talking to you. That's a bad thing, Justin. What happened?
That is a very bad thing. Unfortunately, you know, we struggled a little in practice to get over to qualifying trim. We were fighting some gremlins. We got there and felt like we were going to be halfway decent, and had a good lap going there, and unfortunately just got down into 3, and it started to get away, and I tried to save it as much as I could, but unfortunately here at Phoenix, not a whole lot of room to get out of trouble, and it was my mistake, just you know, trying to get too much on the lap there. So I hate it for these guys. Everybody on this sprint racing crew, they do a great job. So we'll get the backup out. Hopefully we can get it fixed and go and see what happens.
Thanks, Justin.
6 minutes into knockout qualifying, Kyle Busch has jumped to 3rd, and Denny Hamlin his teammate, in 13th. Fast Friday presented by Aleve, and it's a fast knockout qualifying session, round 1 of 2. That's how they'll do it on the short tracks and the road courses. Super speedways will have 3 rounds of qualifying.
Stenhouse is in right now, and Hamlin is out. That's the bubble between Stenhouse and Hamlin right now. Harvick's 14th. Michael McDowell is 15th.
I just find it so interesting that the 2 Penske drivers, Joey Logano and Brad Keselowski, they absolutely left pit road when it was open for qualifying like their hair was on fire, and they're still sitting there first and second in that 22 and that 2 car.
And the good thing about that is, Larry, they got plenty of time to get those engines cooled down and get ready to make a run for the pole.
Kurt Busch, 9th.
What I was going to say, Mike, the only thing that these teams can adjust during this session here, during this 30 minutes, one crew member can go across the wall. He can adjust the tape on the nose. He can adjust air pressure, wedge or track bar as far as chassis adjustments. That's all you can do during this 30-minute session.
Well, Larry, I'm watching most of these cars, and there are a few guys making a minor air pressure adjustments, but for the most part, the cars are just sitting there.
And Darrell, one thing that I did learn this morning, you don't really want to make an adjustment on the tape, because you and I have talked about this before. They've done everything they could do to get these cars sealed to the racetrack. You can't adjust things on the front shocks, so if you take tape off, it actually affects the way the car travels.
Yeah, it'll affect the balance of the car, which will hurt your lap. So you kind of got what you got in that area.
Watching Allmendinger, 17th. Kurt Busch jumped up to 4th. He's the fastest Chevrolet. Behind the Logano and Penske are Keselowski Fords and Kyle Busch's Toyota. Kurt now 4th.
McMurray's out, and Gordon's out, and Stewart's out right now. They're
out of the top dozen.
Out of the top 12. That's 13, 14, 15. McMurray, Gordon, and Stewart. Stenhouse is 16th. Hamlin 17th.
And here's Matt Kenseth, currently being shown 17th.
Now, right now, we're closing in on about a third of the way through this 30 minutes. Boy, we have one driver he did everything but hit the wall in turn 3 and 4.
I think that's Morgan Shepherd in the 87 car.
Didn't get a lot of practice. And here's Dale Jr., who was fastest in practice, showing him 28 at 26:35. That's about half a second from pole.
Got a nice lap. Nobody in his way at all, but not sure, just how good the car can be after you've made a run.
Yeah, there's just not a lot of drivers out on the racetrack right now, only about 2 or 3.
And we're only 9.5 minutes into this 30-minute session.
23rd for Junior on that lap, so he's got a ways to go here.
Picked up 1 spot.
I think this is working out about like we thought it would, guys. You go out there, you get that fast lap, and then you wait and see where if you're in the top 12 solid, pretty happy.
And 2, Darrell, nobody wants to be out there in that blazing Arizona sunshine. Knockout qualifying. We're 10 minutes in. Tonight, the Fox Sports Live crew brings you all the highlights from a full day of college hoops, NBA, and NHL, and NASCAR. Fox Sports Live tonight, 11 Eastern, only on Fox Sports 1.
And we're looking at Casey Kane right now, and I'm pretty sure what they did was he's out there cooling that engine down.
Yeah, they probably pulled all the tape off the nose, and he's going to make 2 or 3 just slow laps. You can see it's completely open right there, so there's no tape on it. This is the only way you can cool this engine down. You can't put fans on the front end. You can't put the cool down machine. So that's what they're doing here right now.
Yes, sir.
3 drivers have not been out on the track. Danica Patrick, Joe Nemechek, and Casey Mears. Justin Allgaier was on a flyer but hit the wall in turn 4, and he's in the garage.
Yeah, right now Vickers is on the bubble. He's a 12th at a 26-12. Right behind him is McMurray at a 26-13, 13-5, 13-6 for Gordon. So it's real close on the bubble, but getting inside that bubble might be hard.
Now, Mike, that's one thing we will know at the end of this 30 minutes. We have 46 drivers here. We know which 3 drivers will not make this show after this 30 minutes.
Well, and Larry, what I'm watching right now, if this becomes the norm, these guys are all out here riding around right now, slow, cooling their engines off. That makes me say, well, maybe they ought to let them cool the engines down. We're not, you know, you don't get water on the pit lane or anything. They got them enclosed, so. But if there's nobody on the track and you want to ride around with your and get the like Dale Jr. is doing right now, they're just cooling off the motors.
Well, we're all learning where it works, Darrell. This is the first time for this. Some teams have tested at non-cup tracks to figure out what will happen. And here's Matt.
And Steve Letarte has come down off the truck, Mike, making his way to Junior's pit. He told him just to go on out on the track, like you mentioned. They pulled the tape off to try to cool it down. Junior said the car was just way too free on entry to turn 3, and it was basically a throwaway lap after that.
Now, thanks, Matt. The fastest 36 drivers in this session make the race. Then the 6 highest in owner points, and we use 2013 owner points at Daytona, here, and Las Vegas. Then we'll use the current year points. Those will be the provisional starters. Finally, the last position goes to the most recent past champion not yet in the field, or if not needed, they'll revert to owner points to fill that final spot. So the field will be set from this session, and 3 drivers will go home. Then the top 12 cars will be lined up in order of their first round speeds, and second round of knockout qualifying, 5 minutes to see who starts on the pole.
And you know, one of the things, it's kind of interesting to me how things change. Normally we go to the first 3 races on last year's points, and normally we're in the garage on last year's points, but this year we're not.
Just like they came and they finished in the Daytona 500 and not giving the champion the first spot in the garage area, which has always been.
Yeah, but I say I never understood why. Okay, you went to Daytona, you got points for this year. Why do you keep wanting to fall back on what you had last year? And so to me, you go to Daytona with last year's points because nobody has any. Then you won Daytona, now you got points, and then you start from there.
Now, Barry Landis, our producer, actually just asked me a great question. Will these drivers, as they're out here cooling down, will they go ahead and pick the speed up, or will they come back in? Based on no tape on the front end, they will come back in, let it sit for a little bit longer, then put the tape back on the nose for possibly a run in the final 10 minutes of this session.
Right now there are 12 guys out there not thinking about, you know, some 8 or 10 of them are pretty happy. But right now what they're doing is getting ready for the final session. They get the engines cooled down now, they can set a while, and then they'll be ready to go for the 12 for the knockout in the 12 when the top 12 go back out.
Learning as we go. First round knockout qualifying. 42 drivers have been out on track so far. Welcome back to Phoenix. It's Fast Friday presented by Aleve. Well, the big cloud is gone. We've got sunshine for a while, and we've got 15 minutes, half the session left. But look at the 3 drivers listed on the bottom left of your screen. They are not yet in the top 12. They're close. Will they make another run? Must they make another run?
No, I'm sure they'll make another run. But, you know, here's something we're learning right now. Who would have thought that you'd go out and ride around and cool your engine off? You know, who would have thought we'd have time in a session to go out and do this? So that's something these guys didn't anticipate that they're reacting to.
Marcus Ambrose is 25th right now. He's picked it up. And 26.388, not his fastest lap on his 3rd go-round.
You know, we've been watching Danica Patrick in the 10 car sit on pit road as we now are halfway through this session, and she just pulled down there. She's about to make her run. Here's what I believe Tony Gibson and Danica Patrick are doing. I think they're going for broke with 1 run. Maybe she can get up to the top 12, but if she can't, I think they're just looking to get her as high in the field as they possibly can, because it's going to be hard to make this run, get a clean lap, and get back out in here, pull tape off, get it cooled down to make another run. That's going to be tough to do.
I think you have to have realistic expectations about this whole thing, particularly in this session.
That is just what Casey Mears has done. He was parked at the end of pit road in front of Danica Patrick, and he's on a flyer right now. Hopefully he won't catch slow traffic as he makes his way around the mile at Phoenix, and there's going to be a knot of it in turn 1 down toward the bottom. Casey Kane's there, gets down and out of the way.
He's fine. Yeah, those guys knew he were, you know, that's the spotters are telling him he's coming, and they got out of his way, no problem. And looks like a pretty good lap.
But is it good enough to make the top dozen? No, 24th. Now Danica Patrick takes to the track.
And she's definitely got a clear track. There's nothing in the way unless somebody pulls out over there. And I don't see anybody, so I think she's got timed this just right for a a nice clean run here.
And the only difference between this and the top dozen cars, sun versus shade. When Logano and Keselowski, Kyle Busch and the rest went out, the track was cloudy most of the way around. Now the sun's had a chance to bake it a bit.
Yeah, she's going to get a pretty clean lap. Looks like Paul Menard, the 27 cars on the bottom of the racetrack, but he's going to be out of the way, so she'll get a clean lap.
And it doesn't look like it looks like a decent lap too.
And by the way, Casey Mears on lap number 2 in his 13 car jumped up to 15th. I think that was Booty Barker, his crew chief's goal. Start as high in the field as you can and not worry about trying to make 2 runs.
But that's why I said, Larry, look at your qualifying effort week in and week out. So where should I fall in the lineup here if it was a normal qualifying session? Once you get somewhere in that range, I mean, you know, realistic expectation.
All right, Danica's first lap, 33rd. 31st. Jeff Gordon back out. Remember, Gordon was just outside the top dozen. He is 14th.
And looks like Danica Patrick in that 10. She's going to run a 3rd lap. No, she ran into 3 hard. It washed way up the racetrack. She pretty much aborted that lap right there. It was all the way up and out of the groove.
I don't think there's any problem with the sun going into turn 3 right now, but certainly coming off turn 4 and down this front straightaway, that sun gets in your eyes and it can affect your entry into turn 1, but it won't for long because the grandstand shades that corner pretty good once the sun moves a little.
And you could see it. Greg Biffle, he had him somewhat a built-in sun visor on the inside of the windshield with tape, knowing this sun is really bad going down the front stretch into turn 1.
You see the Biffle is 6th.
All right, bring it to us this time here. Nice and slow.
At 26.05. A lot of speed disparity from cars that are trying to make a run between those trying to get back to pit road. Now this is Joe Nemechek.
But you know something, Mike, I have not seen anybody get anybody in anybody's way.
Nope.
I mean, the spotters are doing a great job. The drivers are all aware of what's going on, and quite honestly, they're all working together pretty well doing this.
Now there at the top of the screen, you saw Parker Kligerman in 36th. He is on the bubble for making the race. After that, it's provisionals. Here's Josh Wise.
And Parker led practice, had the quickest lap for a long time during practice.
Now Josh is 1 spot away in 37. Nemechek 39th. 10 minutes. And Tony Stewart's back out, trying to improve on 17th. Jeff Gordon never did get up to speed, went back in the garage area, or excuse me, came back to pit road. And that's a point. If you go to the garage area, you have finished qualifying. You cannot return to pit road. So he did not go to the garage, just back to his position on pit road.
Darrell, I just believe the top 4 or 5 drivers, Logano, Keselowski, Kyle Busch, Kurt Busch, Kyle Larson, I think they're going to wait this out a little bit and see if anybody starts jumping up there.
Yeah, no danger for them, those guys right now. They're good.
Welcome back to Phoenix. About 8 minutes to go in the first round of knockout qualifying. As things stand right now, our unofficial tally shows the go-homers would be Landon Castle, Dave Blaney, and Josh Wise, and that is very unofficial, subject to who gets provisional spots and so forth. Jamie Mack jumps up to 10, solidifying his spot in the 12 that will advance to round 2.
That was a great lap. That's a 26.09, and that's a great lap for McMurray, and that knocks Vickers out of the top 12, and that puts Newman on the bubble.
Yeah, what Jamie McMurray and his group they did, they went right out there at the beginning, spent a fair amount of time cooling that car down, and here with about 8 minutes to go, they've made another run at it.
Krista?
Right now it's a guessing game for the 15 of Clint Boyer. They have a good lap. They knew they were up there, but they're 11th. They're sort of in that bubble area. They said we had a little bit of a cloud about 2 minutes ago. You see crew chief Brian Patty atop the hauler. They were trying to make that tape adjustment and get one more run. Clint said, I don't know, I feel good about our run. We're just wasting it for the next session. Brian Patty said, I need a little bit more insurance than this.
I agree, Krista, because that one car of McMurray, I mean, he just jumped up to 10th after making an early run. So I think there's still some speed in these cars if you want to go back out there and try it.
And the difference from 12th to 16th is half a tenth of a second. Kevin Harvick on the tracker, trying to work his way into the top dozen.
I think he's there.
23rd.
11th.
Did it. Knocks Ryan Newman out.
By 4 1,000ths of a
P11
second.
right now. Try to cool it off best you can here.
6.5 minutes to go.
I love Rodney Childers. He's so good. Yeah, try to cool it off if you can. No panic. Never.
At the end of the grid, Parker Kligerman holds the bubble to make the race, ahead of Josh Wise by 2/100ths of a second.
I think that answered Boyer's question. Oh, now he's 12th, so I think that tells him that if he's got anything left, you better go try it one more time.
I remember last time Dale Earnhardt Jr. ran that first run, he was way too loose. They were probably able to adjust some air pressure, possibly the wedge or track bar. That's adjustments that they could make.
Yeah, he's 26 right now at 26-30. Gonna have to pick up about 2.5, 3/10.
You got Tampa 2. You need to run another. Go ahead.
21st on that lap. And if you're outside the top 12, this is for starting position right here,
which goes for pit selection and everything else. Boy, I know it's tight in there, but look where he's 2 right now, going off into turn 3 on this second lap.
Whatever they did certainly has helped him, Coach.
Whoops.
He's not getting off the corner good. When he picks the throttle up,
Right now,
it's just not taking it.
Did it. 9th for Dale Jr.
Yeah, great run. And he did exactly what he had to do.
That's an 09. That's nice. Keep cycling. Okay, we're going to do it again.
26.09. That's a nice time, boys.
That will knock Clint Boyer out of the top dozen. Jamie McMurray 11th, Harvick 12th.
See, I think this is where it gets to be fun. When that bubble position right now, Harvick's sitting on it, and you're not in, you got to make another run.
A 1-2-2 is in, a 1-2-3 is out right now. 1/1000.
That's one thing that hadn't changed.
No, sir.
We see that week in and week out.
All right, Matt Kenseth is 18th.
Yeah, we only have one Toyota driver in the top dozen, and that's his teammate Kyle Busch in the 18, who's 3rd right now.
Now, this is only Kenseth's second run. He ran 2 laps at the start of the session. Right now, the bubble is Kevin Harvick at 26.122.
He didn't make it. It's 18th for the 20 car.
Slower. Top 12 are at the top of your screen. 4 minutes to go. Welcome back to Phoenix. We're in the final minutes of round 1 of this 2-round knockout qualifying. Fast Friday presented by Aleve. Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski quickest. Kevin Harvick on the bubble to make the top dozen at 26.122. Parker Kligerman on the bubble to make the race.
Got about 3 minutes to go here. Tony Stewart's out. There's a number of good cars out there.
Ryan Newman back out trying to break into the top dozen, and here is Denny Hamlin trying to jump up from 21st. And Hamlin does it. By 1,000th, he knocks out Harvick. Woo!
A 1-2-1 to a 1-2-2.
1/1000th of a second. And Denny Hamlin is in. Kevin Harvick is out. 2.5 minutes.
But you know, Denny Hamlin, he's going to run another lap, and we've been seeing a lot of drivers that picked up on their second lap. He's just trying to buy more insurance. Slowed down just a little bit on that lap.
Yep, about 3/100ths.
You know, the problem with going out now, I mean, you got to get in the top 12, so that's your big challenge. But if you go out here late and we just have a small break here and you got to go right back out, that's going to be a bit of an engine issue, heat issue.
But now look at the cloud cover. Only the backstretch is in sun. The rest of the racetrack has a cloud cover, and that may change things as McMurray makes another lap. Hamlin on the bubble, 26.121. 2 minutes.
Yeah, these will be the final laps made by drivers in this session right here. And I know we're watching Carl Edwards in the 99, but I've been keeping a watchful eye on Brad Keselowski in the 2, his teammate Joey Logano in the 22. They're sitting in their cars. They're on pit road. There's one crew member there at the window that can talk to them. I think they're in pretty good shape to make the top 12.
Got a minute and a half.
Jeff Gordon
90 seconds.
equaled his best lap, did not better it. Still Hamlin. Now here's the rule for the end of the session. Once the starter begins to wave the flag to end the session, You pass under it once and you're done, which means you must have started your last lap before that flag begins to wave for it to count.
What a lot of drivers are doing here in the closing couple of minutes, I just saw Denny Hamlin's crew do it to that 11 car, just made a run. They're pulling the tape off, trying to get out there and make those slow laps to get the engine cooled down.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a bit of an issue for these guys that, you know, like Hamlin, he just got in. So he's got to get that engine cooled down so he can run for the pole.
40 seconds. Alex Bowman trying to race his way in. Here is Parker Kligerman. 36th.
Overheating big time. You can see all the water spewing out there at the base of the windshield on the right side.
But if he stays where he is, he will race here on Sunday. 30 seconds. A couple of cars still out there.
Alex Bowman about the only driver up to speed right now in that 23 car.
No improvement. He's a 10th slower. Unless somebody is like Almirola working up to get. Nope, he's coming to pit road.
And we have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And we're done.
That should be it.
Wow. That was exciting, and the top dozen is decided
by hundreds.
Thousands. 1,000. So now the 12 drivers at the top of the screen will get ready for round 2. Everyone else is round 1 and done, and we'll be back right after this. Welcome back to Phoenix. We're between rounds in knockout qualifying for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. I think that lived up to all of its pre-event anticipation and all the varying strategies. We saw quite a few different ones.
Starting to build that notebook, because when this session started, the notebook had no pages in it for drivers, for crew chiefs, for anybody.
Now, the times will not be carried over to the second session. 12 drivers will be carried over, and whatever time they earn in the final 5-minute run, well, that determines starting positions 1 through 12 for Sunday.
Let's see if we can get Joey Logano to tell us what happened there. Hey, Joey Logano, it's DW in the Fox Sports 1 booth. Got a copy there, buddy?
DW, that's channel 2, try channel 1.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, sir. We needed the help.
Daryl, we got knocked out.
Try the other channel, Mark. And Joey Logano, DW, got a copy there, bud?
DW, he don't have his helmet on.
All right, guys. Well, we just wanted to find out about his strategy. It looked like it worked pretty good. So thank you, guys. Appreciate it. We'll get back to you later.
So Joey's taking a little break between rounds here.
Yeah, I'm sure he wants to discuss, you know, what we're going to do now.
Now, Jamie McMurray is out of his car talking things over. He will advance. So is Ryan Newman, who ended up 15th. All right, so the field is set. 36 drivers qualified on time. Then the provisionals, and here are the 3 who are disappointed. Landon Castle does not make the show. Dave Blaney for the 2nd year in a row. The Phil Parsons car with Josh Wise are those who fail to qualify. First, let's show you the drivers who will move on to round 2. Led by the Penske Fords and the Busch brothers.
Kyle Larson.
Now these drivers are locked in to these starting spots for Sunday.
And boy, Larry, you know, anytime you qualify back here, it's a bit of a problem with the way the pit road is here, with the pits down in turn 1 and 2 down there to the turn, and getting back on pit road is not a very good place to be.
That 2612 was a popular number because we had 5 drivers that ran a 2612. Had to go all the way out to the thousands to determine who started where.
Now all these drivers down through 36th qualified on time. After 36th, the rest of these are the qualifying time positions, but it's 2013 owner points that determine who is in, and the 3 drivers we mentioned who go home. Casey Mears top 20. Greg Biffle already back.
Oh yeah, it looks like Biffle's getting a head start.
Yeah. Krista.
Mike, you mentioned Casey Mears. I want to talk to you about your strategy. You were one of the cars that was waiting sort of for that perfect lap. Did you like that strategy?
I mean, it ended up working out. It seemed like a lot of guys went out early, and it was pretty jumbled up. So when we went out, we actually got a clear, nice gap. You know, I mean, that's part of the name of the game in group qualifying. Obviously, there's so many other people out there with different agendas. You got to try to get a clean lap first of all, and it worked out well for us. Geico Chevy was fast. The disappointing part of it is we went out actually to make a second run, and we had a lap that was clearly a lot better going. That could have probably put us in the top 12, and we got held up by the 77. And I don't know what happened there, but we didn't get through 3 and 4 with them. But excited about it. It's good for us, and we'll have looking forward to Sunday.
Thanks, Casey.
All right, round 2 has begun.
That may be the first time I have watched a driver go through the gearbox going down pit road as he was leaving. Greg Biffle in that 16 car, he was on it.
I think Biffle learned, you know, from that first session, get out there and get her done.
Some light sun in the backstretch and turns 3 and 4.
Nice lap, maybe 26.02.
A little filtering from the clouds. Eric Almirola, 26.13.
We have 4 of our 12 drivers out on the track right now.
Here goes Logano, who was the quickest, and that puts him back at the top, just within a few hundredths of what he ran in the first session.
25.89, and now we have full sun in the backstretch, turns 3 and 4 in the front straightaway.
Think about that 89. That's 4 100ths off the track record.
And Darrell, he's going to run a second lap, so don't be, surprised if he picks up a little bit from that 89 possibly.
Jimmy Johnson 4th right now.
85. That's just.
And it's a new track record for Joey Logano. By 8 1/1000ths of a second, he beats the mark set by Jimmy Johnson here last November. Krista?
Quite a difference than our last race, our pole sitter for the Daytona 500, Austin Dillon. I guess you're probably just glad there wasn't knockout qualifying in Daytona.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just different. I think I was a little anxious right there trying to figure out how things were going to go and shake out. So we had a really good car in practice. I think we were 5th overall, and that lap would have put us about 12th. So, we just got to learn from it. I know I was a little amped up and trying to figure out how we're going to get on the track and get a clean run. But the American Ethanol Chevy is pretty good, so I think we'll be fine for Sunday. I hope we get another practice tomorrow, but disappointed. But I think we got a lot of improvement ahead of us. It's going to be interesting to see what people think about new qualifying, and for me, it's just got to learn a little bit more.
Thanks, Austin.
Thanks, Krista. 4 drivers have posted times: Logano, Biffle, Johnson, and Almirola, in that order.
And it looks like about another 4 is about to go out on the racetrack. Kyle Busch in the 18, he's out there, and here comes Brad Keselowski leaving pit road in the 2 car as well, and a couple more sitting down there waiting.
Yep, Kyle Larson's on the way out for his run.
Yeah, with just 12 cars, I mean, there's really no reason to get in anyone's way, so everybody should get a nice, clean qualifying lap, and certainly we just saw that the 22 car of Logano got a great qualifying lap.
And I just saw Kyle Busch in the 18 car with his hands full.
I did too, Larry. I thought he was going to hit that fence over coming off turn 2. He went straight at it.
And this session is 10 minutes in length. If I said 5 earlier, I must have been looking ahead to Las Vegas, because Super Speedway is 3 rounds of knockout qualifying with a 5-minute final round. So this is 10 minutes. And we have a little more than 6 minutes to go. Here's what happened to Kyle, Darrell.
Yeah, he just can't get off of 2. He tried to run another lap, and here you see the car starting to move a little bit. Push loose, jumps a little sideways with him, kills his lap. Didn't get a good lap at all at 26.25.
And Darrell, he elected just to run the 1 lap, save that time, get in there and get some adjustments made on that 18 car.
6 minutes remain. Brad Keselowski now up to 2nd. Now, Larry, what are they allowed to adjust?
Well, the only thing you can adjust back to this 10 minutes is what you could in the first session. Air pressure, wedge, track bar, and tape. And Keselowski goes to the top.
Another new track record. Man, those Penske cars are on fire today. Good grief. 1st and 2nd with a new track record, both of them.
And we have 3 Ford drivers at the top right now.
They like knockout qualifying.
Brad Keselowski, the new track record holder, 3 1/100ths faster than last fall.
Riders in the world risk it all.
Second and final round of knockout qualifying for the Sprint Cup Series on Fast Friday, presented by Aleve. And here goes Casey Kane. 7 drivers have posted times, led by Brad Keselowski and Joey Logano. There they are at the top of your screen. 5 drivers have yet to run, including Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Casey Kane.
And the drivers that's not run yet, they're going for one run. One run only late in this session.
I love the no ride height rule, Larry. I was looking at the cars sitting on pit road. Normally they're all up in the air, you know, they're waiting to get on the track to fall down. Now they're just sitting there poised, ready to go. Nose down, tail up.
And you don't have to worry about being too low after qualifying or the race.
3 minutes to go in this session. Here comes Casey Kane.
Casey was 8th quickest after that first session. First lap 26:28, 8th of the 8 drivers that's run so far.
Surprisingly, I don't know about surprisingly, but all these guys that have gone out this session have picked up on their second lap. Logano and Keselowski both picked up on their second laps.
Jamie McMurray to 3rd.
Great run for Jamie. That's a 25.90.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr. starting his lap.
Look out, Keselowski. Yeah, he's all right.
Two minutes remain. 3 drivers, including Earnhardt, have not yet posted a time.
You know who's laying in the weeds on this that we better watch is Kurt Busch in that 41 car, because he's just now leaving pit road. I think he could be a guy to watch.
Earnhardt up to 4th. 26.02, nice run. And here goes Kurt, winding her up down the back.
And Joey Logano on the 22's leaving pit road. He's going to try to get another run in, see if he can take his teammate off the top.
Yeah, so is Jimmy Johnson. He's getting ready to get out there and get after it too.
Keep in mind that all these drivers are on the same tires with which they started round 1. Tire changes are not permitted at any time during qualifying.
Boy, they
have a flat.
They made some nice changes, that 88 car. You have to admit that. I mean, he was pretty bad off there. Just barely got into the final 12, and now he's sitting there in 4th place. That's nice work by Letarte and the boys.
I don't know if it's going to be fast with Kurt Busch. It looked awfully solid in that 41 car. No, 10th quickest on lap 1.
A minute to go, and Denny Hamlin is the only one of the top 12 who has not posted a time. There's Hamlin going out, and he's going to get 1 lap, because once the flag starts to wave to end the session, the next time you pass under it, you are done.
Yeah, that's all he's going to be able to get in, I think, Mike, is just the 1 lap.
Jimmy Johnson up to 4th, 26.02. What did Logano do on that lap?
He's just 26.03.
Slower.
0.2 off.
So here's Hamlin coming under the stripe. Now, because he has started this lap, it will count. 5 seconds left on the clock. And looks like the Biff may get another lap, because the flag waves over Joey Logano at a 25.94. So here comes Hamlin for his one and done lap. 12th, 26.21.
I just think they waited too late to make their run with that 11 car.
So we're done. Brad Keselowski has won the pole, and his Penske Ford teammate Joey Logano will start alongside in Sunday's 300-kilometer race on Fox. It is Keselowski's 4th career pole. He won the pole last at New Hampshire in July.
Teammates front row.
It's the 101st Sprint Cup Series pole for Team Penske, and their 7th at Phoenix. We'll be back to wrap things up.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our loyal fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.
Brad Keselowski has beaten teammate Joey Logano for the pole in Phoenix by 22 1/1000ths of a second. Matt?
and catching up with our new pole sitter. So was the best strategy going out early in both sessions, Brad?
I don't know. I think you have to have a fast car. That's the most important part either way. And everybody in the Lions Truck Parts Ford team did a good job of that. Team Penske won too. That's a heck of a way to start what we think of as the regular season here at Phoenix. Daytona, we had 2 great cars and 2 strong runs. And I swear I was tired of finishing second and third, so it's first to, or it's good to finally put a first up on the board and in the first, group qualifying. So that's pretty neat as well.
Joey laid down the new track record. Temperatures were coming down. Did you think, knowing what you have with your car, that you could beat that?
I didn't think I had the lap in me, but these guys gave me a heck of a car. They must have carried me, Matt.
All right, Team Penske on the front row, Mike.
Thanks, Matt. 22 1/1000ths of a second. It'll be an all-Ford front row for Team Penske, Keselowski and Logano. Chevys of McMurray, Johnson, and Earnhardt. Biffle's Ford, Busch's Toyota, and rookie Kyle Larson.
Brad Keselowski joins Austin Dillon as the early entries for the Sprint Unlimited next year at Daytona.
And it's good to see Brad back. I mean, last year wasn't so great, but man, after Daytona, now this pole today, great return.
Now look at the 3 drivers who only went out late in this session. Kurt Busch, Casey Kane, Denny Hamlin. They ended up at the back of the top 12.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin only got 1 lap in, which probably hurt his effort.
Yeah, but sometimes you just got to be realistic. They probably didn't feel like they had the car to go up there and get the pole, so take what you got.
All of these drivers timed into the field in round 1 of knockout qualifying. All the way back through Parker Kligerman in 36th. The provisionals, Blake Cook, Joe Nemechek, Reed Sorensen, and Travis Kvapil, along with Michael Annett, Morgan Shepherd, and Justin Allgaier, who did not complete his run, got in on a car owner's provisional. And here are the drivers, once again, who failed to qualify. Well, the top 12 was decided by 1,000th, and I think knockout qualifying certainly lived up to its billing.
Well, there was so much anticipation, so many questions, and I truly believe this is one of the better changes that NASCAR made. I think the day of a viewer or a fan watching an hour-and-a-half, 2-hour qualifying session of one driver at a time, I think those days, they have passed us.
I think Junior's telling Biffle about, did I tell you about last week? You ought to have been with me last week. No, he qualified 5th. Great run. But I'm really impressed with the adjustments they made on that car, because he wasn't that good when the session started.
Yeah, they will share the 3rd row when they roll off on Sunday. Tonight on Fox Sports 1, that is. Coming up next, you want to see the Daytona 500? You missed it? We'll tune in next. And then at 11 p.m., Fox Sports Live.
I'm going to watch that race again, because that's one of the best Daytona 500s of all time.
Yes, it was.
I think we need to create a Thunder Cell 20 miles from the racetrack with 50 to go at every race. That might help us a lot.
And tell them more weather's on the way.
That's right. First ever Phoenix front row sweep by one team. Congratulations, Team Penske. Brad Keselowski and Joey Logano will start on the front row Sunday on Fox.